Seamus Healy, next speaker.
This section of the bill deals with plebiscite on ownership of Irish water. And of course, the reason for this being in this bill at all is that there is very serious and understandable concern out there among the public generally that Irish water, if it ever gets up and running and if water charges are introduced, that it will eventually be privatised and sold on for private profit to super rich Irish or international organisations and companies, people who are already very wealthy and already involved in the whole Irish water scene already. And of course, you know, that is very understandable because once water becomes a commodity, if it becomes a commodity, then it's inevitable that the whole question of full cost recovery will become involved, and the charge, though initially capped now as a sort of an introductory offer by this government, will skyrocket and will eventually be privatised and sold on to private interests. And as I say, that's a reasonable and a very understandable situation because for ordinary people, because they've seen it happen before, particularly in the case of refuse charges, which are introduced at very small charge, and after a number of years, we now have a situation where there's a very significant charge for refuse, about €300 per year per household. The waiver scheme is gone, abolished, and the service is privatised. And people are very much aware of that. And in fact, this whole idea of a referendum or a plebiscite was initially introduced by government supporters and by the Green Party effectively as a diversion to try and get people's mind away from the whole question of a charge. Simply a diversionary tactic. We heard it first from Jack O'Connor of SIP2. We heard it from the Green Party, who were the initiators of the whole idea of water charges, and we heard it from Deputy Joe Costello of the Labour Party. As has been said already, you know, this particular formulation here, you know, it reminds me of the fraud that was perpetrated on the Irish people in the last general election, particularly by the Labour Party, who produced their Tesco ad with the warning that don't vote for Fine Gael or vote for us and we'll stop Fine Gael bringing in water charges. This is something very similar, because we had the Minister come in here a fortnight ago and effectively gave the impression that he was going to have that water would be put into the Constitution, and you would have a situation where it could not be privatised. Of course, that's absolutely not what's in this. What's in this is worse than useless. It's really a sleight of hand, and it's really trickery. As people have said, other speakers have said already, it provides not for any specific or exact situation. The government may do, not that they have to do it, they may do, and they may do it if the government so decides. So this particular plebiscite, this particular section in the bill, as I said, is worse than useless, and it's another piece of trickery from this government and from the Minister and the Labour Party, and it's certainly, as I said, absolutely worthless. You know, the various amendments that are there from 4 to 8, you know, are certainly worthwhile. However, you know, if this is to be at all useful, then what we need is an amendment to be put into the Constitution to prevent, full stop, the privatisation of water ever.